So good morning. So before I start my talk, I'd like to ask, how many of you are sports fans? So since I cannot see you, I assume there's a lot. So what I'm going to talk about today is if you happen to be a sports fan, good for you, because I'm going to talk about a type of material could potentially make many of your favorite sports much safer. If you do not like sports, I also have some good news for you because this material can have the potential to improve some of your daily life as well as an enormous implication in better medicines. So before I actually start talking about the material, I want to tell you a couple of stories. So if you follow FSU sports, you probably know that last year, 2018, FSU softball team made a historic run to win the national championship. So one of the standout players was this lady, Jessie Warren. As a matter of fact, she won the MVP award during the World Series. But what happens, there's a behind story. So halfway through the season, she was injured, and the injury was an ankle injury on her right ankle. So the recovery was very slow, and the trainers thought about all these strategies, but things just did not go fast enough. So by chance, the trainer was talking to the football trainer and learned about the football team was using a new type of ankle brace, and turns out to be great for them. So at that point, it really is, there's nothing to lose to try this one. So they got the information, get a hold of the company, and made her an ankle brace. Long story short is this ankle brace works very, very well. She was able to recover from the injury and get back on the field, and she wore that ankle brace ever since, all the way to the championship. Okay. So if you notice this figure, on her right ankle, there was a brace. So if you want to enjoy some of the fantastic plays, if you search Jessie Warren, the catch, you will be able to find the videos where in one of the games, she made this unbelievable catch and double play, and ESPN says that it's got to be one of the top 10 plays. Okay? So I just said they learned this ankle brace from the football team. So apparently the football team is using it. And so shown here is a former FSU football team captain, and he was one of the many players using this ankle brace. As a matter of fact, FSU is not the only one to use this ankle brace. There's more than 40 NCAA schools, including those big names. FSU is one of them, but there's also championship teams. They all use them. Not only that, several of our National Football League professional teams also use this ankle brace. So what's so special about this ankle brace? Okay, the brace itself, the design, there's all sort of thing goes into it. But one of the reasons that make this ankle brace works very well is a special type of padding material. And I happen to have a piece over here. So if you look at this material, really, it's just a foam padding. But I want you to see, notice that what happened, the bizarreness, if you want to call this material. When I stretch it, I hope you can notice the material expands when you try to stretch it. And if you happen to play with other type of material, let's say you have played with silly putty before, what you notice that when you start to stretch the material, the middle part gets thin out, eventually it breaks. And that actually is the behavior of almost any type of material except this type of material. Okay? What happens when you press it? So if you roll up a silly putty into a ball, you press it, what happens? It spread out, right? Okay, so what happened? You press this material. Again, I hope you can see when you press it, it actually shrinks. So again, this very strange type of properties actually turns out to be extremely useful. So because of this type of properties, what happens is when you try to make it into a curved surface, like we see here, it can form a very, very good curved surface. So if you think about it, the ankle brace case, we're talking about your ankle. There's a lot of curvature. It's not a flat surface. So this one, we're able to form a very, very close and snug fit. So, and that's critical for the ankle brace to work well. Not only that, this material also, once it's knocked onto your ankle, it will prevent your ankle going through fast movement. That will help you to stabilize the ankle and prevent injury. Okay, so those are very, very important. As a matter of fact, this type of material are only one where you can make all this very, very banded shape where you do not see any crease. Where there's a crease, there's a gap. Where there's a gap, there's less stability. Okay? So it provides superior fit, stability, and also it's super cushy. So you will be very comfortable. And the other thing is, did I just mention that the material, you press it, it gets denser? What does that mean? That means when you try to hit the material, it becomes denser and resists the hitting. So what that means is that it can absorb a lot of energy. So think about it. If you put the material on your head, what that means is that when you hit it, the more energy is taken away by the phone, the less your body and your head will experience. So this is a very, very good material for sports protection, among many other things. As a matter of fact, because of this superior energy absorbing capability, we have some preliminary results show that this can improve up to 6 times or better. So people are actually trying to look how to use this material to make many sports safer. And one of the sports, of course, is football. So for full disclosure, I am a football fan. Being not only just being a professor at FAMU FSU College of Engineering, I'm a product of Ohio State. So FSU is not doing well, but on the other hand, Ohio State seems to be doing just fine, right? So far I do not have a conflict of interest just yet. But anyway, let's get back to football itself. Okay, so most of us likes football. Football is a beautiful sport. It's a wonderful sport. It gives you a sense of team, how to collaborate, all this. But football is also a violent and a dangerous sport because you get hit all the time and may cause injuries, okay? And because of the safety concerns, there's actually a trend in the recent years that young people who decided to go to play football, the population is actually going down because the parents are concerned about the safety. And there's a lot more body of studies that this the potential health concern is not just like people's imagination. And there's increasing medical evidence for those. And one of the injuries or potential impact is to your brain. We think about concussions or that, but concussion is actually, in a very severe case, you'll notice I get treatment right away. But that's not necessarily all the case for other type minor hit in your brain. You may not feel it, but over time, everything adds up. So a lot of retired players, after their retirement, they show symptoms of depression, anxiety, and more severely, they develop Alzheimer's diseases, dementia, and some actually, because of depression, they commit suicide. Okay? And a couple of years ago, a group of former players and other people, actually they sued National Football League. And in the end, NFL settled down for $1 billion settlement. 1 billion, that's a billion. Okay, so they decided to put a lot of effort trying to, among other things, to improve the player safety. Okay, so they launched this Play Smart, Play Safe initiative, trying to explore all kinds of technologies and other things they can do to improve the safety. One of the things they launched a program called Head Health Challenge. Basically, they challenge people to come up with new technology to improve the helmet safety, so that can help protect your brain. So just early this year, this particular type of material was basically selected by the National Football League. They provide a project, basically is to evaluate how this material can perform in football helmet to improve the protection and reduce the potential damage. So the study is still ongoing, but the results so far show great promise. So I just mentioned that if you like football, we have some good news. If you do not so much into sports, this material turns out to be, can also help people in other ways. One example is the material has made it into shoe insoles. People who wear it show that I used to only wear, some of the people, they need to work all the day in their work. They reported that this one helped them relieve the fatigue and stress, all that, among other things. And so we are very happy about the progress we have so far, but as a scientist and engineer, we're always trying to push further forward. So recently, we are beginning a totally new endeavor, basically trying to use this material in a combination with some clever biology. We're trying to develop a better treatment or diagnosis for Alzheimer's diseases. So what I want the audience to know is we, as a professor, as a scientist, we always have this intellectual curiosity. But it's really when all those science and engineering curiosity lead to something actually in the end, it also help people's life better. That's really what research and development is about. Thank you.